Okay, let's try this again. There's definitely a mosquito in here. So during this video, I might be attacked. Please watch out for that. And the question is ESFJ romantic pairings. Okay, now these are typically the more like very fast-paced group people. So you gotta be quick in the responses. You gotta be fast. They are also extroverted, so they know how to handle people extremely well. These are the most well put together people and also have a heart. Now, of course, this is all my filter, my opinion, but ESFJs are amazing. They have a noble streak through them, a loyal streak through them. That isn't to say that they can't, cheat, but being FE dominant, that can be quite the contrast. But I have seen it. Actually there's two situations where I've seen that, but for the most part, ESFJs, there's no need for them to have that if they have a good relationship, of course. They like to collect people. ESFJs have that loyal streak. They have that, okay, you hurt me, I'm gonna be on guard with you streak. They're a J-type after all. They are extroverted. They can handle endless amounts of socializing. They can also group people together. So they know how to categorize, and because they are SI parent, that function exactly, that spiderweb making function, they actually play favorites out of all the types. They don't really have a problem letting people know that they have favorites. You're my right-hand man, you're my first mate, you're my second mate, whatever. They can organize and categorize. So with that in mind and the stereotypical answers I just went down with, like, of course, FE dominant to SI, that's what we're living on, right? So this is the outbound version of the ISFJ, which is known as the knight, the doctor, the nurse, the caretaker. This is the extroverted version of that stereotype, and these people can do anything and everything for anybody, and that's why they're known as these multifaceted people. People love ESFJs, and people try to be on their good side because people have this natural desire to level up in their eyes because they play favorites and it's very open. They make fantastic managers, directors. Again, I'm from the film world, so I've seen a lot of ESFJ filmmakers, specifically directors, because directors don't have to deal with too much nitty-gritty. They just have to deal with the people who deal with the nitty-gritty, and that way they can say, oh, I don't like this person, let's get them off set with no repercussions. So it's a perfect place for ESFJs to be. Same thing for managers. I have seen managers of people and managers of restaurants be ESFJ. They have the ability to walk right up to your table and say, if you were mean to my waiter or server or waitress, whatever, you are excused. And they can do it with a smile and be very tactful. Very tactful people, ESFJs. All right, I'm running out of battery, so let's just jump to the relationship side before I get eaten alive. Oh shit, it's right there. Did you guys see that? Okay, so ESFJs are very good with dealing with chaos, which is what's happening right now. They're NE child, which means that they can put things together like a child would. So it doesn't always make sense for them, and they can jump to conclusions pretty quick because they're also TI inferior. So they will just take somebody's word for it, but not really. They like to make sure that things are right before they just take your word for it, but they have this slight insecurity with new information. So with that, they like their partner to have either a predictable side or something very sporadic about them. What I have noticed personally, working in arts and real estate sales and all that, I had a broker who's an ESFJ. They like chaos. Just like their ISFJ counterparts, they really enjoy that chaotic side. I knew an ESFJ who was married to an ENTP. If you can believe that, an ENTP and an ESFJ. So relationships there are vast, ESFJs. So remember, they are the controlling type, but in an open controlling way. Like if you actually bring it up, they'll back off, not knowing that they did that. So they don't mean to be that way. It's just how they function, right? FE dominant to SI parent. That's exactly what that means. They care about you and they're trying to organize you. And so, yeah. All right. So how to love this person and how does this person love? So we're not talking about love languages because that's a whole different thing, but they are the most likely to offer acts of service and gifts. So they're very open about that. Their time, if they spend time with you, if they choose to spend time with you, is probably a more common love language on the receiving end for the ESFJ. Because your outbound love language is different than your inbound love language. Like what you like to give people might be different than what you like to receive. Some people love giving gifts and some people just hate receiving it because it's awkward, whatever. You know about the 5 love languages. And it's tired, I got a retainer in. Okay, don't judge me. The mosquito disappeared, so I'll watch it on the screen. Watch all my skin here. ESFJs can be hard to love. And that is because they have this guarded nature. If you cross their line, they're more like the, well, you're easy to write off and I've got other friends or people. They just know everyone and they know the good and the bad of everyone. And depending on the type of ESFJ, if they're a dark ESFJ or a pretty light one, they will choose that side. They have this ability to stay in the gray. meaning what they do may not always be pure, but they have reasons for that. Because they see both sides very well. They're a very mature type. ESFJs tend to always favor the side of maturity and perspective. However, they're fast-paced, impatient nature. Just don't forget they're also SE critics. So the present moment is super important, which is why they always esteem to positions of power, because power is a place of responsible control. So any place that they can get that, they will go for it, because they're one letter off from the ESTJ, the most controlling of all. But you're also missing the idea that deeper connection can be tough with an ESFJ, because what their world is very conditional. It's very conditional. If you don't perform, they will make note of that and hold that for any future contact with you. They basically make tally marks of your good and your bad. So that's very tough. Very tough. I should have said that way earlier on, but the more I think about it, and I'm just spitting this out, they absolutely take roll. And They remember. They remember all the good you did and the bad you did. And because of that, relationships with ESFJs for the long haul are tough, especially if they feel inauthentic to begin with and they're just doing it to help you because they're FE dominant, right? I've also seen that. They did not get in the relationship for the right reasons, and down the road, they had to break it off. I've seen ESFJs have these long-term relationships that just like out of nowhere broke off. And though they may try, they also know the practical side that it just wouldn't have worked out anyway. So he keeps flying like right there in front of me. I'm guessing he's a male because he's got the, anyway, probably shouldn't have said that. Not all mosquitoes have, do they all have, yeah, they do. They do. Okay. So the genders between ESFJs I've noticed are different too. So if you have a more masculine ESFJ, they tend to be more controlling. That controlling side really kind of takes over. The feminine ESFJ, they try to look for the better side in you, looking for that better side and yet still making tally marks. And when that happens, they can get stepped on, ESFJs, or used. Rather, the ESFJ more is a grifter type on the dark side because they use other people. I have seen that in the film world as well, making these hollow promises, but maybe sometimes fulfilling enough to say that they did. So they remember things, and they can be a dark ESFJ can be highly manipulative. All right, I'm rambling. I've mentioned many times on this channel that Slughorn was an intuitive performing a censor's job. And I thought the casting was great. I loved the guy who played it, the position, but the way that J.K. Rowling wrote Slughorn was to collect the wizards in Hogwarts to be in his little group. ESFJs, you know what I'm saying when I bring up King Arthur. He's got a specific Knights of the Round Table. There's a label for a reason, okay? So if you're part of that group, you are one of those freaking knights. And that is because an ESFJ put that label on that, and it creates this prestige. And now inside of that, you have these lines of favorites. So as you can probably see that with any parent or grandparent, I know of a grandparent who plays favorites, and she will give out money to her grandchildren on holidays, and each grandchildren has a different amount. Can you believe that? Can you freaking believe that? It's true. ESFJ to the freaking max. Always moving, always going. I'm amazed if they even made it this far in the video because like my hair's standing up on end. I'm dead tired. SE critic. So the now is extremely imperative. So try to get on their good side, try to stay on their good side, and try not to screw up too bad. That's how ESFJs are. So in I'm gonna make a list of ESFJ relationships and how I think those might go in another video. So this is considered a part 2 because the first one is when I discovered the mosquito in the first place. Did you see that?